We are live on our Sunday, October 6, 2024. Win with Black Men Call. Glad to have all of y'all here. Yes, I'm rocking my Houston Texans jersey. We pulled it out against the Buffalo Bills today. And so shout out to CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryans, and all those guys. So hopefully y'all had a good day of football. Lots to talk about, folks. We're not going to hold you as long as an NFL football game, 3.5 hours. We do want to get you to understand we are 30 days away from Election Day. But of course, there are some places where they've already started voting. And so a lot of things we're going to be doing tonight. We've got some labor leaders going to be talking to. In addition to that, we're going to be showing you some new campaign spots that have been put out that I think are pretty interesting. And so Keenan, I'm going to be sending those to you to make sure we have those. And so lots we want to get into. Share this with all of your friends and family, fellow brothers as well. Because listen, this is the whole point here. Black men, we can do our part when it comes to this election. Sisters are mobilized, they're energized, they are making this thing happen. We can do the exact same thing. And so there are a lot of guys out here who do not have the right information. A lot of guys out here who have a lot of wrong information. I've been dealing with the disinformation, the flat out lies that are out there on social media. And so we have to understand what's going on. And so who better to explain to somebody else what's really happening than a peer? And so that's really what our target goal is. And so we're going to get to a lot of our speakers. But first up, I want to bring up I want to bring up my man Khalil Thompson, Executive Director of Win with Black Men. Khalil, what's happening?
Roland, so good to be with you again another Sunday night. I am looking forward to always seeing your face, but excited that this will come to somewhat of a curtailed moment in 4 or 5 weeks. I'm sure we all are getting a little bit fatigued, but we cannot let up off the gas. It is very important over these next negative 30 days that we lean in as best as we possibly can to talk to every single member of our family, communities, whether you're in the shop, whether you're in the grocery store, whether you're just, wherever you may be on your block or in your neighborhood, figure out how we can engage every brother to make sure they go vote. As I think he said in church this morning, as my pastor likes to say, Howard John Wesley, can't tell you who to vote for, but I am voting for Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz to be our next president and vice president of these United States. We want to make sure that every brother turns out and does their civic duty. It's vitally and massively important that we are participating in this electoral cycle this election year. So I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited to also have members and leaders of the labor movement. Secretary Treasurer Liz Powell from the American Postal Workers Union. We've got brothers from SEIU and Unite here on as well to have a panel conversation with you tonight. And the goal was to hear from frontline workers. I know this call has somewhat taken a turn where we talk about not only our fraternities and sororities for the work that we do, or 4 years institutions, and that we wanted to make sure we were more intentional about bringing brothers to the table who may not have had that experience. And so really excited about what tonight's conversation is going to look like.
All right, Khalil, I certainly appreciate that. We're also going to be sharing you some important data out there because it's a lot of lies out here. It's all kind of stuff out here. And we just want to make sure that you're getting the right information and you're getting your questions are also being answered. Let's Khalil mention Liz Powell is the Secretary Treasurer for the American Postal Workers Union. So Liz joins us right now. Not sure how Liz snuck into this call, but she's here, and we certainly welcome her in.
Thank you, Roland. I'm not quite sure how I ended up in this call either, but on behalf of the American Postal Workers Union, AFL-CIO, I am deeply honored to be a part of the conversation this evening. A very important conversation for us all. The American Postal Workers Union represents over 200,000 members and retirees. Most of our members in the largest cities and the leaders of our union are our brothers, Black men. In the states, the North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, our state presidents in those areas are our brothers. While we represent a diverse workforce, and we are encouraging everyone to get out there vote, come when the time comes, the early voting and the voting. We have put boots on the ground. We have put shoes on the ground. We have put sneakers on the ground. We got our feet on the ground. And we're ready to do whatever is necessary to make sure that Kamala Harris is the next president of the United States of America. It's not going to be easy. We know we have our work cut out for us. We know that the Win with Black Men are going to do everything that they can do to help get that vote out. They are in the barbershops, they are in the churches, they are in the communities, and definitely they are in the United States Postal Service in the post offices. We have found that a lot of our young people that are being hired today, we got over 35,000, close to 40,000 new hires that are 35 years and under, that we're trying to explain the importance of what voting is all about. And a lot of them are people of color. It is important that they are educated, that they are familiar with the community, that they get involved, and they know exactly what the issues are and do not believe to all the misinformation that's been given to them. We look at Win with Black Men as a phrase that often signifies the importance of creating strategies, initiatives, and partnerships, and we are ready to partner with them. As a Black woman with a son and 4 grandsons who are able to go to the polls, I definitely will make sure that they're going to go and do what they have to do. As a mother and a grandmother, we worry about what our children are facing in the world every day. When they leave home, we want to ensure that they come home. Unless we get involved in doing what we have to do to make sure that our communities are represented by people of color where it needs to be, we got to do what we got to do. And I find that it's very important that we got to talk to people one-on-one about what's important to them, the issues that's important to them, help them to understand what's important to them. We cannot go with a whole lot of baloney that they don't understand or talking over their head. We got to come down to earth. This is an important election. It's an important for every member of the United States of America. And we, as postal workers, intend to do what we got to do. And just let me say this. We know that that other guy is out there talking about the post office. We are encouraging everybody, vote by mail if you have to. We have policies in place. We have a workforce in place. We have ballot monitors in place to ensure that there is no ballot left behind in the Postal Service. Let this election be one where there is so many votes that there can be no doubt who is the president of the United States of America. Thank you again for this opportunity.
All right, then. And so, Liz, we certainly appreciate it. You're absolutely right. Again, folks, get it done early. Get it done early, please. And don't procrastinate. And so you've asked for your absentee ballot. I want you to get it, fill it out, and kick it back in, because all of that is so important for us to be able to get our vote and make our vote heard. And so we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much, Liz. I want to go to, we're waiting on a couple of the folks, but here's the deal. Magic Johnson this week was in Flint, Michigan with Vice President Kamala Harris. He introduced her. And here is a snippet of what he had to say specifically to Black men.
There's a lot of Black men in here, and I don't mean to, not talk to other people, but this is important. Our Black men, we got to get them out to vote. That's number one. Kamala's opponent promised a lot of things last time to the Black community that he did not deliver on. And we got to make sure we help Black men understand that. So that's why I'm here, to make sure I help Black men understand. First, get out and vote, and then vote for the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris. Now, there's a lot of Black
I want to bring in I want to do this
You know,
here.
I talk to other people, but this is important.
All right, Keenan, come back to me. All right, then. So that was Magic Johnson. And so I want to bring in with Kairos, Michael Blake. Michael, it's very interesting, Michael. You have folks out here, why should I take advice from Magic Johnson? Why should I listen to Magic Johnson? Oh, look at what they doing, rolling these people out here, talking to us. Well, Elon Musk was at a Trump rally this weekend. You've got Mark Cuban, who's doing lots of interviews out there talking about this election, talking about this campaign. And so I don't understand if Mark Cuban can be talking about what's happening out here. So can Magic Johnson. He's not just a retired Hall of Famer. He's also someone who's a business leader. And so there's some people out here, they are going to figure out as best they can what to complain about. Looks like we lost Mike. I want to bring Khalil back up here. So Khalil, here you had Magic Johnson, and we're going to play his whole introduction of the vice president a little bit later, talking about why she's important. And so if Mark Cuban can be out there, why can't Magic Johnson be out here?
I think it's vitally important that we hear from as many voices as possible in this election. You're an American, true and true. Whether you're a billionaire, millionaire, or $1 your vote is equal to any other person. And so by hearing from various voices in our community that may speak from various perspectives, I think it's important. A son of Michigan telling other Michiganders why it's important for them to get out and vote, that's important. It's equally as important for, I know there's an opportunity here in D.C. Where I live and I was born and raised, the go-go community, whether it's Genghis from Backyard Band or others in Go-Go Vote, getting together and explaining to folks why they need to do their civic duty. That's important. So you're right. Whether you're Mark Cuban or others who choose to support other candidates, by getting out and making sure you share factual information with community members, you're a trusted resource to go to them and share with them why they should participate in their civic duty. I think it's vitally important. And I think Secretary Treasurer Powell was apt to come on as from the Postal Workers Union, because we're seeing whether it's you're dropping off your voter registration October 7th in Georgia, October 21st in Pennsylvania, and I know there are other dates that have either passed recently or just coming up. It's insanely important. So that's tomorrow in Georgia. It's the last day to register to vote. You might go into a post office and be able to submit your registration. We want to make sure that everybody is doing their civic duty and can participate. So I think Magic stepping out was unique for me and seeing that news over the weekend. But it also says to me that this is and to channel my brother Michael Blake, this is a Kairos moment that we're seeing. This is organically people are coming from their communities and saying, hey, I want to step up and have my voice heard in this election cycle. So I'm excited to see more voices be a part of this conversation and share what everybody should participate in this great experiment called democracy.
Absolutely. And so, again, every voice does indeed matter. And I just, it's just, there's some people going to be out there who whine and complain. They always got something to say. I was on Instagram a little bit earlier and this guy was complaining, why didn't Vice President Kamala Harris speak out about the execution of Marcel Williams? And I said, first of all, that wasn't a federal execution, it was a state execution. You had Democrats in the state that were speaking. I said, well, let me remind y'all, it was a Republican attorney general, a Republican governor, a Republican state Supreme Court, Republican U.S. Supreme Court allowed that execution to go forward. I said, so how you got more smoke for Democrats than you do Republicans? And it was the Democrats who were trying to stop the execution, but the Republicans who moved forward. And not only that, I pulled the research. In 60 years, there were only 3, this is prior to Trump. In 60 years, there were only 3 federal executions. 3. There were none with Obama Biden. There have been none under Biden Harris. In 6 months, 13 people were put to death by Donald Trump. So my deal is don't sit here and make demands saying, well, why did she do this? She didn't do this. Donald Trump has made it clear he didn't give a damn about those folks. He was seeking people to put to death in his last 6 months of his presidency. And so folks need to understand what the actual facts are. We've also been talking about criminal justice reform. The reality is, under Trump, Jeff Sessions made it clear they wanted to pull back from consent decrees, pull back on holding cops liable. We just saw this week 3 of the former officers who were convicted in the beating death of Tyree Nichols. 3 others have pled guilty. We saw the past and practice investigation of a racist police force in Mississippi. There have been 12 in patterns and practice investigations under the Biden-Harris Department of Justice Civil Rights Division in the last 4 years. There was 1 under Trump. 12 Biden-Harris, 1 under Trump. Those are facts. And we talk about criminal justice reform. You got to ask yourself the question, who is actually doing the work? And I'm going to tell you right now, it was not Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Sorry, folks. I want to pull a couple of our labor leaders up right now. We're going to talk to them in a second about what's going on. Let me know if we got Mike Blake back. We had him a little bit earlier, and so I want to pull Mike up. Okay, we lost Mike again. So okay, cool. We'll actually get Mike back. So it's so much that's actually been going on, folks, in this election that matters tremendously. You know, and again, when we talk about the issues, when we talk about what needs to be focused on, you know, I just think it's so important when you're able to cut to the chase and speak truth to power, and call a thing a thing. And I saw this really interesting Lincoln Project ad that was voiced by our good friend Wendell Pierce. And Wendell Pierce is, of course, actor, very much involved in social justice issues. Wendell Pierce, he launched with a partner a grocery store in his hometown of New Orleans. He also, of course, owns a Black-owned radio station there. And so he has been out here doing the work. Keenan, let me know if you have that piece from Wendell. If not, I'll try to pull it up myself because it was a really powerful ad that he actually put together. And so give me a second. I want to try to see if I can pull this up right quick. Give me 1 second. 1 second, folks. And because he had a particular message for men, Looks like we got Mike Blake back. Do we have Mike back? Is Mike there? If we got Mike, let's pull Mike up. All right, Michael Blake, there you go. Welcome to this week's call.
What's going on, brother? And been moving around because of multiple events to try to work on making sure we get our VP elected out here. Brother Martin, I think if you're talking about Wendell Pierce, if that's what I was hearing right there, Lincoln Project. If people go onto the Lincoln Project on X, they can see the incredible commercial that he just launched. Brothers, I just wanted to say this, a few different things. I just put in the chat 3 different things that are happening that we're looking for you to get involved with to support. The first of which is an effort specifically around voter protection. If you are a lawyer, if you are a paralegal, if you're a law student, voter protection, we need you to be helping out in the battleground states, in particular, Michigan and Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona. The first link I put in there is for you to share with any and all lawyers in your network. There was a call happening tomorrow night, so you can sign up for that. Second, and that's all across the country. Second, depending on how you want to plug in and get engaged, everybody, we're looking for everybody to find ways to plug in here. We are doing a nightly 8:30 p.m. Eastern interfaith call, Pray Us Forward. Tonight, Bishop Barber is going to be on that call. It's a quick 10-minute, so we can empower and inspire folks to get engaged and follow your spirit. So that's every night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You can join on that call to Pray Us Forward. And if you have recommendations on others you want to have participate in that, rock with us. Third, Michigan Democratic Party specifically. For anybody you know in Michigan, please remind them that yes, you can and you should be voting straight ticket. However, you have to turn the ballot over to include Justice Kamala Harris Bolden, Black woman who's running for re-election. So what we put in the chat is a My Black Vote checklist. So our Black jobs, our Black votes, our Black power, to give information, to make it very clear on why and who to vote for. I saw Brother Martin showed earlier the Magic Johnson clip of what he did just a few days ago. This is about saying to people how you can get involved, brothers, and be very specific around these opportunities. Michigan is a critical, necessary state. So my Black job, my Black vote checklist. You can go there, you can send that out, you can mobilize the people across the country to know what's going on in Michigan. And we are doing that very specifically so that, one, you can have reasons on why to vote. You know, we got to be real clear about this. The $50,000 tax break and incentive for a tax deduction for small businesses, that matters for Black business. We talk about the $25,000 for you to get your first home, but it's also making it clear that you can know how to vote. And recognizing that in many states, it may be confusing and maybe something you're looking for more information on, we want to be helpful there. So we're giving you 3 very specific ways to get involved here. Again, anybody that you know that is a lawyer, that is a law student, that is a paralegal, that wants to be involved in voter protection, please go to that first link, go to the website and the Harris for President, KamalaHarris.com, our Harris for President effort as well, around how we can get you involved around voter protection. It's up on the screen right there. Voter protection, volunteer. You heard earlier from Meredith Horton and what she is doing. We are looking for you to send that out and that link out across the country. Second, as I mentioned, every night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Pray Us Forward. Interfaith conversation, interfaith call to action, to be aware and to be inspired and be empowered. Join us on those calls. KairosDemocracyProject.com/PrayUsForward. Third, specific to Michigan. We're looking for y'all. We need y'all. We need you right now. It's too critical. It's too close. Too much is at stake. So we have the My Black Vote checklist. Our Black job, our Black vote, our Black power. Follow us and see what's going on there, to be engaged, to be empowered, to be plugged in. Let me bring this together about some things that are happening. If you're in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, there are buses that are going down from these places to Pennsylvania same day. So anybody you know in the tri-state area, we're looking for you to get on the bus, to go knock on doors. You'll be back same day, saying that later that night, and plugging in that way. Lastly, this is a major week for our Black Brown Coalition. Anybody you know that's in Vegas, anybody you know that's in North Carolina, anybody you know in Georgia, anybody you know in Florida, think about how we got to mobilize together. Pray for everybody that's in Florida as they get ready for this hurricane that's about to hit in the Orlando, Tampa area. Be with everybody that's in Georgia as they are still trying to engage around the talk and the effort of a hand count. But we want to make sure that we are winning by a large enough margin that doesn't matter. North Carolina, the 700,000 that are being moved from the rolls. But that's why Vegas is important this week. Vegas this week, the recording the BET Awards, a lot of celebrities, a lot of surrogates going to be out there. The University-owned town hall with the vice president is going to be speaking and participating in. But also the Mass Tort Made Perfect conference that's happening there. It's an opportunity for us to engage lawyers as well to get plugged in immediately. So anybody you know in Las Vegas and in Nevada, join with us and connect with us. Again, go to KairosDemocracyProject.com. We can rock with you. Brother Martin, just grateful for everything that you're doing, and let's find more ways to connect and sync up from here. Turn it back over to you and Khalil.
All right, Mike Blake, we surely appreciate it. Thank you so very much, folks. The ad that Michael was talking about, that I was also mentioned that Wendell Pierce is on. So I'm going to play that for you right now. Really, really powerful ad. And so, Keenan, I'm going to cut to that real quick. So let's go ahead and check this out. All right, y'all.
The story of being Black in America is filled with never-ending chapters of challenge. Driving while Black, Banking while black, parenting while black. But what about voting while black? They always tell you this election will be different, and it rarely is. So many promises made. Promises of economic justice and social equity that never quite make it to your pocket or your porch. But this election, there really is only one choice. This time, she is the choice. Now I know you're thinking I've never voted for a woman and I'm not going to start now. Ask yourself, why not? And maybe you'll find it's not about her. It's about you. What you want for your family, for your future. Because if you vote for what you want, the choice becomes clear. It's Kamala. Listen to your gut. Your heart is telling you that Kamala Harris is the right person for the job. It's time for courage, for boldness. It's time to come together for change. It's time to be a man. Vote for a woman.
Again, really strong ad there from Lincoln Project, voiced by our good buddy Wendell Pierce. And so I wanted just to make sure if y'all had not seen that, I wanted to share that with you because it really is important. You've already heard us talk about it, y'all. 30 days left, 30 days. And so again, have a plan. Be sure that you are registered. Double check where you are. Your state, to make sure that the deadline, that you meet the deadline, 30 days left. And then, of course, vote early if you have early voting. Not all places have early voting. Make sure you have early voting and to get that done. And then, of course, you also need to vote on election day as well. So please, we want to make that happen. So 30 days left. You heard Mike talking about in terms of where all these different events that are going on. Folks, we're going to be on the road. Brothers, we want to see y'all. If you are in Pennsylvania, specifically Philadelphia, we want to see y'all come on out. This is going to be on Tuesday. On Tuesday, October 8th, I am taking the show on the road. We're going to be in Philadelphia, Mount Carmel Baptist Church, 5732 Race Street. Again, broadcasting live 6 to 8 is open to the public. Reverend Dr. Donald D. Moore is the pastor. We look forward to being there. And so we want y'all to come on out to be a part of this live show. If you've got questions, if you are in the Philadelphia area and you got people who are, they're not sure if they're going to vote. They said, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do. Again, bring them on out. We're going to be there in Philadelphia. And so we look forward to being there. So I can't wait to be there. Also, the next night, I'm going to be here, Sharon Baptist Church, 3955 Conshohocken Avenue. Again, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, also open to the public. We thank Bishop K.W. Reed for being our host. Look forward to that. And so we're going to be in Philadelphia on Tuesday and Wednesday this week, October 8th and October 9th, with the show. It's a town hall type format. We'll be taking your questions, and we look forward to that conversation. Now, of course, on Thursday, we're going to be going about an hour and a half away. It's homecoming week for Lincoln University, and I'm going to be heading to Lincoln University. We're going to be in the Mary Dodd Brown Memorial Chapel on the campus of Lincoln University. That's going to be, again, Thursday, October 6th to 8th. So I'll be live in Pennsylvania on October 8th, October 9th, October 10th, October 8th and 9th. I will be in Philadelphia, and then October 10th, Lincoln University. It's homecoming week. I know they got a campus, they got a concert going on, but at the same time, but there's some students who say, hey, we really want to be talking about politics and what's going on. So we look forward to having that conversation. So lots and lots of things are going to be going on the campus. So we look forward to that. Again, we're just moving and grooving. A lot of different things we're doing. We're going to be showing you the full Magic Johnson speech in a little bit. Also, folks, right now, Vice President Kamala Harris is doing lots of interviews. They announced that she's going to be doing Howard Stern show. She's going to be doing some others. She's going to be doing so we're working on when she comes on my show. Can't wait for that to happen. We've been waiting a long time, so we're trying to make that happen. So look forward to that. But she was on the Call Me Daddy podcast. And here's what's interesting. And y'all need to understand this, okay? So you got people like all these media people, Andrea Mitchell and others. Oh, she needs to be doing more of this, more serious interviews, talking public policy. Well, she's talked public policy. A lot of these media folks have not covered her talking public policy. And so y'all notice that when you talk about public policy, when is Trump talking public policy? I'll wait. Oh, I'm sorry, he has concepts, not plans. So she has to present plans, but he can just sort of do whatever. And so, but this particular podcast has 5 million downloads a week. Do you know how long it would take for her to do an interview for Andrea Mitchell or Jake Tapper's show on CNN or any of the CNN shows to hit 5 million people in a week? Longer than 1 week. Okay. I'm just saying. So here was one of the clips that I thought was really interesting in this conversation on the Call Her Daddy podcast. They talked about laws that govern a woman's body, but do you think of any laws that govern a man's body? I thought this was pretty interesting myself. So let me play this here before I continue our conversation. Watch this.
And I want to pose this question more to you and the Daddy Gang, but one of the biggest conversations in this year's election revolves around a woman's body.
Yep.
I want to take a moment and can we try to think of any law that gives the government the power to make a decision?
I know what you're going to ask.
About a man's body.
No.
Is there any law?
No. It's no. Look, we are a work in progress. But here's one of the many things I so love about our country. Part of the strength of our country and our evolution as a country has been through the fight for the expansion of rights. Not the restriction of rights, but the expansion of rights. And we still have work to do. But I say that work is born out of love of country. And it's hard work, but it's good work and it's important work. And that's what's before each of us. And I think that, around election time, but every day, back to the conversation that we've been having about power, the beauty of a democracy is that we each as individuals have the power to weigh in on this stuff.
I don't think so. He's walking while black.
It's a great conversation to actually have when you think about it, because if you start making laws dealing with man's body, trust me, it's a bunch of laws that will never ever happen. So I just thought that was real interesting. I want to go to a couple of our guests right now. I want to bring them up. Joining us right now, Samuel Epps. He is with Local 25, president of the Metropolitan Washington, D.C. Labor Council. Samuel, how you doing?
How you doing, Roland? Pleasure to be with you this evening. Appreciate you and all the work you've done and been in the field using your platform to educate Black men across the country. And again, I'm Sam Epps, president of the Metro Washington Council, representing over 150 affiliate labor unions with about 150,000 members in the Washington, D.C., Prince George's County, Maryland, Montgomery County, Maryland, and Southern Maryland area. And we're here and a part of this to not only encourage union members, but all working people, and especially Black men who make up a large portion of our industries. No matter if you're a hotel worker, transportation worker, you're in government work, you're a postal worker, we are here talking to voters all across the country, and especially in our region as well, to support the Harris Walls ticket. Will be, we know that there's only one candidate in this race for president that is a true fighter for working people. Governor Walls is a union member, a card-carrying union member, and they have laid out a plan for working people, as well as those who have a fight to lift themselves up and having good union jobs, and that they could have the right to collectively bargain, that they can have a pension and then retire with dignity. And I think that's what has been the hope, and that's been the hope of all Black men, is to be able to take care of their family. And there's only one candidate, and that certainly from labor standpoint, and one ticket that has been able to show that and lay out a plan for us. And so we are looking, and we have many of our locals, they are dispersed all across the country. My local union that I come out of, Unite here, we are in the battleground states. We are in Arizona, Nevada. We have a program in Ohio to help the senator there, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. And so we are out. We've just in Pennsylvania alone, our operation there from Unite here has made 700,000 door knocks since July. And so we are out there not only to turn out labor members, but also share a vision of why this is important for working people, and share this, as well as what for us reproductive rights is an economic issue. It's an issue that men should be out in front on. So Roland, we are here and we're committed to working with you and Win with Black Men and all the sponsors who have been working for to help elect Vice President Harris. So I appreciate this opportunity to talk this evening, take any questions from you, but thank you, brother.
Samuel, I'm curious, when y'all doing the door knocking, what are y'all actually hearing? What are you hearing from folks? What are they asking you? What information are y'all providing to them?
Yeah, so we're hearing one, like everybody, we don't know the vice president, and I think the what we're sharing with them is what is the alternative, what the current administration, what Vice President Harris has done. For example, as I've heard you say, as Vice President, was the time vote on insulin. The Vice President and this administration helped many of our union members with their pension. So we're really just going down the list of all the things that this pro Biden Harris administration has done for labor, and to make a clear contrast to what the other side has not done for working people. And so, you're hearing a lot of that. I don't want to vote. Why wasn't there a primary? And then just a lot of misinformation that you have been trying to dispel as well too. It's just a lot of misinformation, and especially in Pennsylvania.
Well, absolutely. And so it's a lot of that. And I think we have to do our part. And again, there are people with questions. And so what I keep saying to folks, you got to be armed and ready to be answered, to answer those questions, to allay people's concerns, and to be able to say, hey, this is what she's going to do, but also this is what the other side is going to do. Are y'all getting probably 2025 questions?
Absolutely, we're getting a lot of that, and for us, on the front page, which every worker, they hide it in the guise of getting rid of the administrative state. Well, really, that is the number one target for labor, that is getting rid of 100,000 federal employers, and that is, one of our largest unions, American Federation of Government Employees. That goes right at the heart of that, along with a bunch of working. Collective bargaining, the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, stuff that allows workers and individuals who are in non-union settings to be able to join the union. They are looking to get rid of all of that, and so we are explaining that, and have literature and information to help individuals understand what that would do and why the other side is just not for working people.
All right, then. We certainly appreciate it. Hold tight 1 second. We're going to come back to you in a moment. I want to go now to Gregory Johnson. Gregory is an airport worker at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta. He's a member of the Southern Region for the Joint Board of Workers United. Gregory, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing great. What's on your mind?
So, I got asked to come on here to explain my story. First off, I am, as you said, an airport worker at the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, as a recycling tech for a contracted company, ABM. I'm also a former UAW member. Worked at Toledo Stellantis plant over there in Toledo, Ohio. Go Buckeyes. And I'm also a veteran, Air Force and Army veteran. So, so that's my background. So what I do now, they pulled us out of the shops, and I got one of my coworkers here from a different shop, but she's knocking on doors with me. But we knocking on doors, and we get about 3 to 5 minutes to talk to each voter or potential voter, and to see what issues they're having. Whether it's crime, safety, inflation, cost of living, etc. And so, as we're engaging with them, we're taking questions, we're writing it down, we're putting it there. So not only, we're stressing that they need to vote, but that they need to, let us know what's going on so we can pose this to the candidates, not just Governor Tim Walz and Vice President Harris, but to the other local, like Senator Warnock down here in Georgia, and John Ossoff, and Hank Johnson are my local. But just for everybody, so we can hold them accountable, because once you get our vote, you got to keep us too, and that's why we're doing it. We're our union is 2.2 million strong, and across the country. So this is to be seen by everybody. We use the minivan app, and so I want everybody to get out there and vote, and so I want them to vote obviously for Kamala Harris, and Governor Tim Walz. But I also stress to them that, I'm a veteran, and I fought for the right for you because I'm disabled. I fought for the right for you to vote, and it's your civic duty to do it. And, I want people to do it. And, some of the questions we get is, well, she's a woman. And I said, well, my thing to that is we had 4 years of Trump, and every day it was chaotic. Every day. I mean, to the point where he told you to drink bleach or to get rid of COVID, misinformation. He's going to do this. And I said, as Vice President Harris, she's as a vice president, so she's mainly ceremonial. But if you look at her past work, she has done and she's fought for the people, for the rights of the people. Even as AG, even as district attorney. I tell them, somebody was like, well, she did the 3-strike rule. She sent all these black men to prison. I said, well, first off, that's misinformation that came from Maryland.
Yeah, that's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's a flat out lie.
Yes, it's the misinformation that's out there. And so, it's like, hey, I want you guys to do your own research. Don't just go off of what I'm telling you. I want you to do your own research to be engaged, because I want you to be engaged, and I want you to do this because Trump, under his administration, has put in so many judges and pushed them through to now where we got this in Georgia. We just had Hurricane Helene come, and it tore up, the southeast a lot. And on WSB TV, they were just talking about how Some of that are still dealing with the aftermath of it is they want to push back and say, hey, well, let's not do the hand voting right now because we can't handle it. We can't do it because we're still trying to recover from the aftermath of the hurricane. But the powers to be in the state of Georgia is like, hey, we're still going to do this. We're still going to push it through. So it's going to delay it. It's already a lot going on. So we're trying to get people out there. Like tomorrow is the last day for people to register to vote here in the state of Georgia. So we're knocking on doors and we're like, hey, you guys got to get out and got to go vote. You got to. We want to make sure that you know if you can vote. There's some felons that are like, hey, I can't vote because I'm a felon. And we're like, hey, no. After you served your sentence and you did everything that you're supposed to do, you can register to vote. Your voting rights have been restored automatically. So you need to check it. You need to do it. And so that's what we're doing. And lastly, you know, I got 4 kids. One of them is 18 years old and he's registered to vote. And, you know, we had this conversation. I told him because he was like, oh, Trump got shot. He's a G. No, Trump. First off, I honestly don't believe Trump got shot. His ears healed up way too fast. And there's no mark. But, you know, neither here nor there. He's trying to use it as a prop. And so I want my son to do his research and not vote for him just because he got shot. I got shot, you know, and you know, in the military, and that was real. But I want him to vote not because he got shot or he marketing, because I think my son said, oh yeah, he gave us the stimulus check. You got the money for me. I said, Trump didn't do that. It was us, the labor union, that pushed for it. Now, Trump being who he is a great marketer. I'm not going to take that from him. He's a great marketer. He put his name on the check so they can, so he can have it. So it wasn't him. He didn't want to.
And factually, the money was approved in the House by Democrats. It then went to the Senate. He signed it into law. The second thing is the stimulus check people got from Biden-Harris in 2021 was bigger than the stimulus check they got when Trump was president. Second, Biden-Harris extended unemployment insurance in 2021. They extended a moratorium on evictions. They extended the money for child care assistance. And they went back and created additional funding for Black-owned businesses for PPP loans. All that happened in 2021 under Biden-Harris, not under Trump-Pence.
And that's one of the things we're dispelling. And then also on top of that, you know, we were talking about inflation. And I said all of that came under Trump. It takes 4 years, you know what I'm saying? Or it takes approximately 4 years for you to see, you know, an investment on which, you know, what the first administration did. So that first administration, that Trump administration and all of that, the inflation went up, your gas prices went up, but now you're starting to see the trickling down from, you know, the Biden administration when they first came in. And I said, you know, if we put Kamala Harris in and we have a Harris-Watts administration, I can guarantee you're going to see the fruits of it. But if you put in Trump and you're not voting, not voting for Harris is definitely a vote for Trump. And I said, if you don't do it, I can guarantee you your inflation is going to go up. And what he said is, this is the last vote that you ever got to do. And I said, man, that is a threat to democracy. January 6th was just a run through just to see how it can be. And, you know, if he's saying this is the last vote that you're going to do, I'm telling you, it is going to be the last vote. You know, he studies Putin. He studies Kim Jong-un. These are the people that he's buddy with and who he studies. And so I just want people to educate themselves. I want them to give Vice President Harris a chance. Because again, we know what 4 years of Trump looked like, and we want different. And so I don't want it to be chaotic. Every time you turn on the news with Trump, is chaotic. You know, he went to, I think when they had that hurricane down in, I want to say San Juan. Don't get me to line, but he was throwing tissue at them.
It was in Puerto Rico, and he delayed the hurricane money in Puerto Rico for 2 years. He delayed the hurricane money. The governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, said they asked for $1 billion. They got 1%. In California, when they had a natural disaster, he delayed the money until his people showed him. They showed him the voting record. Say, oh, no, this money is not going to people who did vote for you. It's going to people who did vote for you. Then he supported them. He is a petty man.
Yeah,
he only. In fact, he made he made governors beg him for support.
Yes,
He made them pledge fealty to him to get government assistance, as opposed to Biden Harris. And then he's out there right now lying, and newspapers, conservative editorial boards across North Carolina, in Georgia, have been calling him out for the lies regarding the federal relief happening in the states impacted by Hurricane Helene.
Yes. So they were just saying that Governor Brian Kemp did not talk to President Biden, and then Governor Kemp came out and said, "Hey, no, we have talked to the Biden administration, and they have pledged to come and help us down here in Georgia."
And every Republican governor and every Republican senator has said, we have gotten everything we asked for from the federal government. So Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and all of these conservatives, country singer John Rich, Megyn Kelly, all of these people are liars. They are lying about no help happening in the states affected.
They're helping. We, that night of the storm, we were just out. My coworker here, she said she left work, and on her way home, she stopped at a Zaxby's, and she said there were 14 electric trucks sitting outside of Zaxby's, waiting. As soon as the storm passed, they were there. They were from Texas, and some were from Louisiana, so they were there to help us. And I know that the governor had reached out to the Biden administration, and just today they added 8 more counties to do it. So we're asking for all 156 or 59 counties in the state of Georgia to be added to it. I think Senator Warnock has asked. So we're still waiting on that, but I can tell you that they're in talks and they're helping and they're dispelling it. So and then one more thing is that Governor Kemp, I guess because he did not find the 15,000 or whatever the votes were, Trump had attacked him, and now they're buddy. So as long as you do what Trump wants, he's buddy with you. But if you do not do it, it's vindictive, and I can guarantee you it's going to be like that if he gets in office. So it is a threat to our democracy, threat to our life. I personally do not believe in abortions, but I am all right for a person to choose it because we live in the state, in the United States of America, and they want to protect gun rights more than they want to protect a woman's body. And that says something.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what's going on there. So hold tight. We appreciate you being with us for tonight, Gregory. Hold on one second. We're going to come back and chat with you as well as Sam at the same time. I do want to do this here because tomorrow night, Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be, her interview with 60 Minutes is going to air. Let me remind people, all these people keep saying, oh, she doesn't do any serious interviews. She sat down with 60 Minutes. Guess who did not? Donald Trump. Why? Because he objected to live fact checking. He wanted to be able to lie, and 60 Minutes said, absolutely not. That's why he's not sitting down with 60 Minutes. Here is a portion of a clip that 60 Minutes released from that interview that will air tomorrow night in prime time on CBS.
We supply Israel with billions of dollars in military aid. Mm-hmm. And yet Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to be charting his own course. The Biden-Harris administration has pressed him to agree to a ceasefire. He's resisted. You urged him not to go into Lebanon. He went in anyway. He has promised to make Iran pay for the missile attack, and that has the potential of expanding the war. Does the U.S. have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu?
The aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done, which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. And we're not going to stop in terms of putting that pressure on Israel and in the region, including Arab leaders.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
Do we have a real close ally in Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I think, with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question is yes.
Again, folks, the full interview with Bill Whitaker will air on 60 Minutes tomorrow. Now, you heard Gregory talking about being a veteran and what matters to him. The folks at Vote Vets, they have not been shy at all criticizing Donald Trump for his constant attacks on vets, for him, claiming his love for the military, but then his behavior has been reprehensible. And if you want to talk about somebody who is literally in the pocket of Putin, Gregory talked about that. Well, Vote Vets laid this out in this devastating ad they put together.
When Putin launched his attack on Ukraine 2 years ago,
the line between freedom and fascism is right here.
The free world united behind President Biden's leadership. The West sent equipment, artillery, and humanitarian aid to help Ukraine stop the march of fascism. And when Republicans refused to fund the fight for freedom, Vote Vets called them on it with nationwide ads.
The Political Action Committee, Vote Vets, is launching an ad campaign calling on congressional Republicans to stand by Ukraine,
giving veterans a voice.
We know time is of the essence. We are fighting hard for this. Mr. Speaker, lead, follow, or get out of the way.
And organizing across the country. And when Donald Trump ordered his MAGA followers to blockade for Ukraine, we reminded Republicans what American leadership is all about.
The strength of America's allies is vital to the United States, and the American security guarantee is essential to the continued freedom of Europe's democracies.
We ran ads in congressional districts to let folks back home know to hold members of Congress accountable.
The war criminal dictator is biding his time, waiting, while Congresswoman Kiggins plays right into his hands. But now, Molinaro is holding Ukraine aid hostage, following orders from Donald Trump.
Veterans kept the pressure on, from social media to the halls of Congress to the walls of Republican Party headquarters.
We were with you then, we're with you now.
We helped build the largest bipartisan vote in years, following a leader, not a loser. Because when veterans speak, lawmakers listen. Join us.
Now, folks, I want to tell you how Republicans have been hurting veterans. They literally have been filing lawsuits to curtail ballots going out to veterans. In Georgia, though, Greg Palast has a new documentary called Vigilantes, Inc., and he details the story, the hell they put a Black veteran through just to be able to cast his ballot. If you go to gregpalast.com, GregPalast.com, you can see this documentary for free. He details how voter suppression is real, how they're making it difficult for Black people to vote. And this story here is just shocking and stunning. This is only about a minute and 40 some odd clip from the documentary. But if you want to understand why we must be maximizing our vote, we cannot sit on the couch, Black men, we can't sit at home. Imagine, and you heard, again, you heard our previous guest, Gregory, talk about it. Imagine being a Black veteran who fought for this country, who put the uniform on, who took enemy fire just to have Republicans in this country stopping you from being able to cast your ballot. Watch this.
You're telling me 2,600 miles away, 2 days for an election, that if I want to vote, all I have to do is show up and prove as an American citizen that I have the right to vote again.
Is this an attempt to remove a lot of Democrats, black people from voting to win the election?
Far from that, sir. And you have crossed the line.
And today to come out and not be able to vote and no one can give you an explanation, like, it's extremely emotional and it bothers me. It bothers me to my core.
I want us to bring up Gregory and Samuel right now. I want to bring them back for our conversation. Two of our brothers who are labor or organizers, leaders, you know, and I wanted to show that. Gregory, because you're there in Georgia, and what is happening in Georgia, in Pennsylvania, in Texas, in Florida, in Alabama, in Mississippi, in North Carolina, in South Carolina, Texas, everywhere, there literally is an effort to stop Black people from voting, to frustrate us from voting, to make it hard for us to cast the ballot, and because they understand that this election is by margins. And if they're able to shave off 10, 15,000, that's the whole election. To have that one white woman in Georgia challenge 32,000 registrations by herself, they, like 3 people in Georgia, challenged some 80,000 different votes. This thing is real, and folks, Black men had better wake up to realize that there's a bullseye on our right to vote.
You're right about that. You know, it is an attack on our democracy from just the Republican side. You know, I don't know when it changed. I got to read it up again when it changed for when Republicans was for the lower class and African American, but it changed, and to change to the point now where they know that our votes matter. If it didn't matter, they would not try to silence us. They would not try to stop us. But because they know our votes matter, it is. And it is a statistic. I think our one of our union reps from New York, from the International, Miss Maggette, she said that it's 15,000 votes that separates us right now. It's projected to separate us 15,000 votes here in the state of Georgia. You got to understand, we're literally going through a cleanup of the last hurricane. So it could be less than that. So it is very important that we get our Black men, Black women, even the Caucasian white people too, Mexicans, everybody. We need everybody to go out. Black, blue, purple. I don't care what you are. You need to go out and vote. Again, you know what we've been against with the last 4 years of Donald Trump in office. Been nothing but chaos every day, all day. He doesn't have policy plans. He said he has concepts. That you can't run a country on concepts. He's a convicted felon. You can't even get housing as a felon. You can't get jobs as a felon. Sometimes you can't get medical care from the state or the federal government as a felon, but you can run for the highest office, something that's supposed to be a role model and for people to look up to, and is for people to look up to. And you can do that as a convicted felon. So I need people to understand that this is the most consequential. I know they say that every year, but this is the most consequential election that we have ever been in our lifetime. In the modern day right now, I can tell you, this is most consequential.
Samuel, there's a legal battle that's going on in this country that people need to understand. And brothers need to understand who is targeting us. It's not Democrats. It's Republicans who are trying to shut down ballot drop boxes. It's Republicans who are shutting down polling locations. In Tarrant County, Texas, the exact same county Well, 8 years later, they are still trying to prosecute Crystal Mason. The Republican county judge tried to shut down early voting locations on college campuses. And so, because they don't like the fact that young white folks are also voting. And so, people who are watching, listening, need to understand there is a literal war happening in the courts in this country because Republicans, they know, and they've said it publicly, if they are able to stop people from voting or make it harder for them to vote and shrink the voting rolls, they have a better chance at winning. But they have actually said on record that if we make it easier for Americans to vote, we will lose.
You're absolutely correct, Roland. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. So in our last election, there was a fight in the state of Pennsylvania on when the ballots were mailed in, and if a ballot was not in the second envelope, and if it wasn't closed and not had a signature on it. So this brings me to a point, and you said it, Michael Blake has said it tonight, and also Gregory, is that the first step is voting. And then when you vote, and we're talking about one race here tonight, but I want to expand it, that on your ballot, you got to go from the top from the president all the way down to dog catcher or whatever, commissioner. We have to do that because the individual states have taken that, and when you have a state legislature that has been gerrymandered in a way that people have not voted or heard their voice heard in a state one, that there's individual states that are just taking people's rights away. And we're seeing that in Atlanta now, right now, with this hand count, right? It's an appointed board by Republicans who have now said, we're not going to do the count by machines. We're going to have to do it by hand, so they can delay, and disenfranchise our individuals. And so we must tell the message out there, not only as Gregory's doing on the doors, but we even in labor must fund legal challenges to fight back on this kind of work, because the other side knows there's more of us than there's more of them. And when our coalition, Black, Brown, AAPI, all come together, women, all that, and young folks under 30 come together, it's very hard to be beat. And Black men should be right in there as well too. And I know there's a feeling that they've been left out on it, but we need to be leaders, and we need to step up, and also understand that they're targeting us in a way that is very legal. Not legal in the sense, but using legal and policy to come after our vote and disenfranchise. It's not about just throwing us in jail anymore. It's like we just saw a veteran who served our country be harassed about their vote. So we must do our part in this as well, to vote from the top of the ballot to the bottom of the ballot.
And Greg, when we start talking about issues, I mean, look, we just saw and if y'all don't want to say anything against fellow union brothers, I get it, but we just saw the International Firefighters refuse to endorse a candidate. They have endorsed a Democratic candidate going back to the 60s. But the only two times they didn't, when Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris were the nominees. What do they have in common? When you look at the Teamsters, I mean, Biden, Harris saved their asses. They literally saved the pensions of 600,000 Teamsters. Now, the Black Teamsters Caucus, they came out endorsing her. But we got to understand, there are white men who are voting against their own economic interests because they can't stand the idea of a woman and this sister being president. Black men should not be acting like them.
Exactly. You got to think the women, we come from a woman, she runs our households, from the past. She's took care of the family. So, you got to understand, you got to give a woman credit. And so why not give a woman a chance to run the country? This is going to be her household to run. She's going to do a great job. They're caring. Yes, they're emotional, but again, she's going to use that to help you out.
Hell. First of all, let me be clear. Men are emotional. Men are emotional. Women are emotional. Grown men, grown women, children.
Yeah,
Humans are emotional.
Exactly. But we're gonna give her a chance, and she's gonna do it. She's done shown so many times from her past what she's gonna do, and she's gonna care for the working people. You know, the country, the United States, our country is ran by the middle class, and so I think one of a few of the questions I got from people is, I mean, they're gonna give a tax cut to the rich, and it's gonna trickle down. When has that ever worked? When has that ever worked? If I come to you, Mr. Rowland, and I say, you're you're paying me $15 an hour to cut your grass, but you just got some extra money come in. Are you gonna give me that money, more money to cut the grass? No, you're not. I know you're not. You're not gonna give it to me. I know you're not. You're not. Everybody else know you're not. So when has that ever worked for the companies to get a tax break to give it to you? It hasn't worked in the past. It's not gonna work now.
And I would also say to that as well too is our labor movement is moving in that direction too, where we are seeing women leadership. We have Secretary Treasurer on from our Postal Workers Union on with us tonight, but also if you look at SEIU, if you look at Unite Here, and then there's many other leaders. Randy Weingart over at AFT, Becky Pringle, right? And so I think you make a valid point there, and those unions, when November 5th happens to me, I believe they're going to be on the wrong side of history, right? And so, but we must, on the labor side, and that's why we're talking not only to the general public and some of our international unions too, but we are in the AFL running a Labor 24 member-to-member program where we talk directly union members to union members, right? And really lay out the contrast of who really fought for them. And Roland, you make a great point there. The pensions, COBRA during COVID, work rules, overtime rules, it's just a list that just goes, child tax credit that this administration and also Vice President Harris has been a part of, and we must tell that story every day from now to Election Day.
I do want to pull in Liz here. If Liz is still there, I want to pull her in because this is the thing that I'm just confused by. We've had female governors, female mayors, female senators. 25% of all U.S. senators right now are women. Female House members, female city council members, school board members, county commissioners, DAs, judges. In this country, female Fortune 500 CEOs. But when I start looking at across the world, let's see here. Mexico just got a woman president. Israel had one in the 60s and 70s. India, Philippines, Germany. I could keep going on and on and on. Other countries England that have had female leaders. What the hell is wrong with people in this country who somehow think a woman cannot be president? She can do everything else, but not be president.
Something wrong with that picture, right? Something is definitely wrong with that picture. And it means like a woman's work is never done, Roland, but we're going to make history. It's going to be history come November the 5th because there will be a woman president for the United States of America. We're going to do our darndest to make sure that happens. But I'm like you. I don't know what it is because everywhere else, like you say, I mean, we have women in leading positions within our unions and within Congress, within the Senate, within the state levels, you name it, we claim it. And we definitely got our work cut out for us in this election. So I don't know, WTF, what's going on with the United States of America, but we're going to change that come November the 5th.
It's crazy to me that we actually see that happening. Final comment. I want to go to Samuel, you first, and that is, if there's a brother out there who's watching, who's listening, or someone knows him, and they're like, hey man, listen, I ain't decided between her, Trump, and the couch. What do you tell them?
I tell them that this election is an election that is about democracy. It's about freedom. It's a economic freedom, a freedom of who you love, freedom to be able to go to work, earn a living, and that those things, if you choose to sit out this race, it is a vote for the alternative vision that would end our democracy here in this country. And so I would certainly say that this is, about freedom. I choose democracy, and I would hope that they would choose democracy as well too.
Samuel, sorry, that was Samuel there. Let me go to Gregory. Gregory, what would you say to them?
I would say go out and early vote. Get out early and vote if you can. Take friends, families, carpool, make a plan. Because early voting here in the state of Georgia starts October 15th. And I want everybody to get out and vote. Look at your local state. And if you have early voting, please make a plan and get out to vote, because this is the most consequential election that we are against right now. And I want you to vote. It is your civic duty to vote. It is your right to vote. People before us, slaves and everybody couldn't vote, or they went through a thing where they had to go through an obstacle to vote, whether it's count marbles in the jars or how many it is. You don't have that. Only thing you have to do is make sure that you're registered by the deadline from your state. Make sure you have the right documentation, get in line and go vote. It's not that hard. It's only a few minutes of your time. And I promise you, you'll feel good about it at the end. And if everybody votes who we think we're going to vote for, I promise you're going to love it, because our country is not going to be under threat no more. It's going to be ready to go.
All right, then. Gregory Johnson, I appreciate it. Samuel Epps, I appreciate it as well. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Liz, also, I appreciate you joining us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roland. I'm glad I got a chance to sneak in.
All right, then. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
I just want to say one more thing before I go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I heard of you, but I started watching you. You did the Mayor Hinyard thing, and I support you. And I want you to continue doing it. And I even follow you on social media now. So some good work that you have done. And you asked all the right questions. She didn't, but I can guarantee you, I want to thank you for it. And one more thing, go Buckeyes.
Well, I don't know about all that. So I'm Texas A&M. We're in the SEC, but we'll see what happens. So
you got another Big Ten here too. I'm Penn State, so
for the purpose of this conversation, go blue.
Talk to you later. I'll see y'all later.
All right, y'all take care. Thank you so very much.
All right, thank you.
We're going to be joined in a second by Bakari Sellers. Let me know when Bakari is in here. Business leader. We kicked this thing off talking about Magic Johnson and business leaders for Kamala Harris are out here as well. So, Kenny, go ahead and roll that.
What which school district or state considering it as a
Ken, there was no audio for that ad. So can you run that again and make sure the audio is on? Ken, there was no audio.
I'm Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn and partner at Greylock. The most important issue in this upcoming election is our economy. Voters want the candidate who's going to make it easier to get a job, buy a house, keep up with their household expenses. And a lot of people think that Donald Trump is that candidate. But here's the thing. Donald Trump's policies, his divisive rhetoric, and his disregard for stability in the rule of law would hurt our economy. Most CEOs I talk to agree. And that's why we started this project, Business Leaders for Harris, where I sit down with CEOs, founders, and business leaders to discuss why Kamala Harris is the right candidate to build a healthy, strong, and growing American economy.
All right, folks, and so we kicked this thing off. We were talking about Magic Johnson, and so again, we just wanted to be able to show you that the business leaders for Kamala Harris. Right now, I want to go to Terrence Woodbury. He is the principal leader of Hit Strategies. Joins us right now. One of the top polling firms, public opinion research firms out there. And Terrence, this week I was talking to Christopher Toller, the Black Voter Project, and we were talking about black men, talking about in terms of voting patterns, and he sent this to me, laying out presidential choices for black men from 1972 to 2024. And one of the things that he said is that people don't understand that between black men and black women, black men have been more conservative than black women. But the other thing that he also made clear is that if you look at this across the board, whether we're talking Latino men, whether we're talking white men, that's also the case. And so you see there, the only year it wasn't in double digits was 2008, the first year of the election of President Barack Obama, when 5% of black men voted Republican, 95% voted for Democrat. 4 years later, it went back to 11. And so I just wanted to show that so people have an understanding, an historical understanding of these things. And so let's talk about what your research is showing. Where are the concerning areas when it comes to black men? What you got for us? Keenan, I don't have the audio for Terrence.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Now we got you, Terrence.
There we go.
Go ahead.
I'm glad you started with that graph. Thanks for having me. Thank you and Keenan for keeping us all gathered, keeping this echo chamber going. We need to keep this information sharing amongst each other, especially in this last 30 days, because a lot is about to change real fast. In fact, I want to stop calling it the last 30 days because it's really going to start changing on November 6th. That's when shit's really going to start changing fast, and we're going to stay tuned, but I'll come back to that. I'm glad you started with this graphic because even if you stick it back up, the thing you'll see right there from Barack Obama's 95% until now is what I've been saying for many, many, many years, is that Democrats have been losing 2 or 3% of black men's votes in every election since Barack Obama exited the political stage. The only exception to that was in 2020 when we had a slight a greater consolidation for Joe Biden. We can't allow that slip to keep happening here, especially because those are, as we saw in 2008, those are our voters. When 95% of black men vote for Democrats, that tells me that almost all love them. That's almost universal. And so these are our voters. We can get them back. But I do want to correct the record on black men a little bit. Number one, because we've been hearing a lot about this and we're going to continue to hear a lot about it. But there's some things that are just being misrepresented, right? And this is why we started Hit Strategy, so that we can correct the record on the communities that are often underrepresented and misrepresented in research, and black men are certainly that group right now. Number one, black men continue to support Democrats at a higher rate than any other group of men in America. Number two, the gender gap is not unique to black people. Men of every race vote less than women. Men of every race vote for less Democrats than women. That is true across all groups. The difference with these black men, to my earlier point, is that they are actually our voter, and we can go get them. The last very important thing that I want to, and this is the most important that I can correct about black men's voting patterns, is that it is not their fault. it's not something wrong with Black men because they are exercising their political agency and exploring their political options. I often say that when the consumer stops buying the product, you don't blame the consumer. You make a better product. And so it is incumbent upon us, especially as we go into this final stretch where, let me just say, I think we have a very, very good product in Kamala Harris. I think we have a very, very good product in the agenda that Democrats are putting forward. I've seen in polling and in focus groups that when we introduce, I'm on another call with Westmore right now, we have a good bench, right? That's our product. Our product is the most diverse slate of elected officials in American history. Our product is a bench of elected officials, of leadership, of cabinet members, of judges that look like America, that look like the diversification of America, that look like the ideology, the differences in America, right? And so I think that's something we can sell. I think that's something that they will buy, but we have to, it's not just having a good product. Not to take this analogy too far, but you got to have a good product, but you also have to market it well. And that's going to be our challenge over the next 30 days is how are we telling the story of our product? How are we telling the story of Kamala Harris and of Democrats up and down the ballot? Because just as important as putting Kamala Harris in the White House, we got to put a gavel in the hands of Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, and we have to maintain a majority in the Senate.
Well, I think Terrence, and we discussed this on numerous occasions. You actually have to, and I keep saying this 1,000 ways. You have to stop blanket, just blanket bombing Black people, and you got to micro target. You have to understand. And let me just say this right now. Okay, I am sick of every time you talk about go to Black men. All of a sudden, it's go to the barbershop. I keep saying Black men go other places other than the damn barbershop. So it's so cheesy now. It's so cheesy now when you talk about this whole deal, and it drives me crazy. And so the thing for me here, Terrence, is what you say. You're talking to college-educated Black men who are of a certain economic status. You have to have a different conversation than you have with non-college educated. You got to have a different conversation with Black men who have been involved in the criminal justice system compared to those that have not. You got to have a different conversation with Black men in different parts of the country because the brother in Georgia could be different from the brother in Texas. And so the problem is, and I'll say this, white Democratic strategists have not listened to Black people like you to understand that you're losing support because there's a failure to understand, last point here, that the further you get away from the civil rights movement, Black people less self-identify as Democrats. So you actually have to work harder and spend more money to talk to the people who historically.
That's exactly it. That's spot on, Roland. Look, the 80% of Black men that are already with us, the 75 to 80% that are already with Kamala Harris, are already voting for Democrats. And just to be clear, so that we can kind of reduce the noise around sexism, the Black men that are less likely to support Kamala Harris are less likely to support insert generic Democrat. Right? This isn't unique to her. I think reducing it to, I'm not saying that there's no sexism within the Black community. I think sexism exists in every community at some level. But to reduce it to sexism, I think reduces the very real questions that they have, as opposed to the hard work of answering those questions. To your point, Roland, of micro-targeting, the last 20 to 25% of Black men that are not with us are inherently different than the 80% that are. And they require a different message, right? They are much more, I like to call them rightfully cynical, not just cynical, right? I'll give you an example. This is a quote I heard from a young man in the focus group in Philadelphia just a few months ago who told me that his hood didn't get any better under Obama and it didn't get any worse under Trump. So what does Kamala and Joe Biden have to do with him? Right? For voters like that, who I describe as closest to the pain, our interventions aren't reaching them. Our policies aren't reaching them. Right? And so our messaging is going to have to be a lot more targeted. It has to start with, every time we talk to these voters, this remaining 25% of rightfully cynical, frustrated, both sides have failed them, both parties have failed them. When we talk to that voter, we have to start with acknowledging that. Acknowledge their pain. Because if we start with the progress, it looks like we're waving a mission accomplished flag and not acknowledging that their groceries are still too high. They still struggling to make ends meet. They still working twice as hard to get half as far. And so when we acknowledge that pain, that sometimes politics seems to work too slow, that sometimes, in fact, the best example of a Democrat acknowledging Black men's pain that I've seen this year is for Joe Biden at the Morehouse speech, at the Morehouse commencement. When Joe Biden looked at a crowd of Black men and said, "I know it's hard to love a country that doesn't seem like it always loves you back. I know it's hard to be asked to work twice as hard and get half as far." That is acknowledging a real and lived experience that many of us are having. And after that, then it opens up a permission structure for us to talk about the progress that we're making, for us to talk about the policy promises. And to be clear, we got to show progress on the last 4 years before we make promises on the next 4 years. And that's why you'll see, and the last point I want to make is that the most important progress point that we can make right now, specifically to this group of rightfully cynical brothers, is on reducing cost. This is not just an economy election. And the best example of reducing costs that we have is capping insulin at $35. I would not have expected. We gave them a list of all the progress and did a poll and asked them, of all 20 of these things that have happened in the last 4 years, which one has had the greatest impact on your life? Which one is the best reason for you to vote? More than student loans, more than George Floyd executive order, more than unemployment rate, more than all the 100 Black women on the bench, more than all of this progress, it was $35 insulin. And that was the number one progress point across all groups of Black people. In fact, that's the number one progress point across all people in America. It's $35 insulin. So we got to make sure they know that. But along with that progress, we have to make sure that we also have a plan to reduce prescription costs for everybody. And then finally, we have to make sure they know that while this is Democrats' progress and Democrats' plan, Republicans are going to make it worse. Republicans want to reverse the caps on prescription drug companies. Project 2025 will repeal Obamacare and leave millions of Black folks uninsured. So that's the kind of messaging that we got to get to them, is to demonstrate how this has already been impacting their lives, how it will continue to make their lives better, and how the other side has a plan to make it worse.
All right, then. Look, Terrence, I know you are busy. You have multiple calls going on, so we're going to go ahead and let you hop on those. We appreciate the great work, and we're going to continue to just educate our folks for the next 30 days. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, brother.
All right, folks. Let's see here. In a moment, Bakari Sellers is going to join us. Guys, let me know when Bakari is on so we can bring him up. And so I want to, let's see, Bakari's not here yet. So let me know when he does join us. And so I want to be able to have him. Let me do this here. I'm going to, you heard, first, let's do this here. Keenan, let's roll that clip from the vice president. So the vice president did All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes, Stephen Jackson, and they asked her about the question of racial identity. Let's go ahead and roll that.
I grew up Italian mom, Black dad, and was always very proud of my heritage until an incident I had in high school when I was 17, protecting my little sister. Someone called her some names. I did what the big brother did. I ended up getting in trouble, and the KKK came and vandalized, nearly burned down my high school. And I knew at that point, although I was very proud to be Italian and Black, that the world looked at me as a Black man.
Yeah.
You've always been secure in your identity, who you are, but what do you feel or what do you think when you hear people kind of questioning just the fabric of who you are?
Well, one, I don't listen to it.
Okay.
I'm really clear about who I am, and if anybody else is not, they need to go through their own level of therapy. That's not my
That's
issue.
their issues, right?
My mother was very clear. She was raising 2 Black girls to be 2 proud Black women, and that was never. It was never a question. You know, it's funny because over the years, journalists, some, not most, will want to talk about it. And I say, okay, if you want to have this conversation, I'm prepared to have it, but sit down and get comfortable for a few hours. If you want to start talking about race in America, you want to talk about what, the 1/8 rule? You want to talk about what it means in terms of who you are perceived to be and the impact that can have on the rest of your life, regardless of who you actually are in terms of your God-given capacity and the rights that you have and should have. So, you know, I don't mess with that. I think that's other people trying to figure some stuff out that and they
got some issues.
They got to deal with it themselves.
All right, folks. So that was the you can actually go check out the All the Smoke podcast interview that the vice president did with them. And so there's a lot of stuff that we're sitting here we want to share with you. I'm trying to find this particular 1 second. Give me just 1 second. So a couple of things going on. Let me know when Bakari is back. You heard Terrence there talk about Product 2025. Y'all, it is no joke in terms of what the impact is going to be on us. We cannot overlook this reality. Cannot overlook it, okay? Because it is real. It is real. This is not a 1 second. This is not a joke. This is not a game that we're seeing what's going on here. It is absolutely real, and we must take it as that as well, because of the impact it is going to have on so many of our people. And see, all these people out here, y'all, who keep talking about, oh yeah, man, we got those checks. Do y'all understand? Republicans plan on slashing everything. Do y'all understand that? This is not a game. If you actually, I'm just going to say this right now. If y'all think that the checks are going to be flowing, you are outside of your mind. Let me say it again. You're outside of your mind. Those checks ain't flowing. They plan on slashing and burning a whole lot of stuff in this country. And so, I don't get these people who think, oh yeah, man, Trump coming in here, man, we about to get paid. No, you're not. No, you're not. And every single time one of these Republicans tries to sit here and distance themselves from Project 2025, they lying. Oh no, I don't know anything about it. I had no control over that. That wasn't that. Oh no, we don't believe in that. So why did Donald Trump have the author of Project 2025 introducing him just the other day at his rally and said, I'm gonna put him back in the administration? Look, y'all tell me. I'm just telling you right now what the real deal is. So don't be confused by these liars. Don't be confused by these folk who keep making stuff up. I'm trying to tell y'all what's going down. It's real. It's real. It's actually happening. And so programs, look, they have a huge part of Project 2025. that deals with the issue of, let me say it again, it deals with the issue of anti-white racism. Let me say it again, anti-white racism. It's happening, y'all. It's what's going on out there. So you need to understand what's happening. I want to play for you another ad from Vice President Kamala Harris. We're waiting on Bakari Shellis to join us right now. So I want y'all to check this out because this is being called quite a brilliant ad. Watch this.
Kamala is mentally impaired. Joe Biden became mentally impaired. Kamala was born that way.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and
thin air. I'm repeating them because my constituents are saying these things are happening. I mean,
but there's no
yesterday,
evidence.
A video came out of a migrant 30 miles away eating a cat. Clearly, these rumors are out there because constituents are seeing it with their own eyes, and some of them are talking about it. Now, look, we also have to talk about
That here in this country, anything is possible, that nothing is out of reach. And America, where we care for one another, look out for one another, and recognize that we have so much more in common than what separates us.
Pretty strong there. Pretty strong there. So we're going to work on a couple of things for you. Again, waiting on Bakari Shellis to join us. He's out there traveling, so we're looking forward to him being with us. And one of the reasons we're showing you a lot of these particular videos because you may not have seen them, and it's our way of being able to sort of help you sort of navigate through this. So you've got Republicans for Harris out there. You've got them doing their thing. You've got a lot of things that are happening out there. But let me tell y'all, I keep telling y'all, this election is going to be a margin election. It's going to be won in the margins, which means turnout. Every single brother who is watching, who is listening, what you should be doing is you should be reaching out. You should be asking 5, 10, 15, 20 around you. First, are you registered? Let me say it again. Are you registered? Then if they say they are not registered, then you need to say, we need to get you registered. Then the second thing needs to be is, okay, fine. If you are registered, are you going to vote? Or are you going to sit on the sidelines? And so that's one thing that we have to be doing, because we have to explain to people public policy impacts every aspect of their life. They can sit here and say, oh, I don't want the government in my life. Trust me, the government is in every aspect of your life. It is what it is. So Bakari Shellis now join us. Let's bring him now up on our call. Bakari, welcome to the October 6th Women with Black Men chat.
What's going on, man? I'm glad to be one in the number. I hope everybody's doing well. Just put the kids down and enjoying a little cocktail tonight. And don't disappear from me, Roland. We got to have a conversation, because we know that right now, I will tell you guys that as someone who speaks to people on the campaign regularly, we are trying to do our best in Atlanta, in Philadelphia, Detroit, and Milwaukee. There's a great deal of focus in those cities, particularly with Black voters, messaging to those Black voters about getting them out to the polls. And I anticipate the campaign doing something with Black men and hopefully putting out an agenda and talking to them and listening to them over the next 7 to 10 days. And so I think the campaign's going in the right direction. I would much rather the race be today, election day be today. I think if their race was today, then they'd be in a good space, but it's not. And so we got to keep fighting and keep plugging away and getting all those people out to the polls. I mean, right now and Roland can disagree with me. Everybody else can disagree with me. We're kind of out of the persuasion aspect of this race. I don't believe there are that many undecided voters out there. Those people who are undecided, the large percentage of undecided voters are going to stay home. The voters have made their minds up for the most part. We just have to get more of ours to the polls than they do. And so
I think because the undecided, first of all, I agree. I don't believe that they're undecided between Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris. I think there are people who are deciding her or the couch.
Correct. Oh, wholeheartedly. But that's a GOTV message. That's a get them out the vote. Right. That's an urgency. That's a reason. That's no longer I'm better than if somebody. I don't really feel like there are many people who are deciding who's a better candidate right now. If you believe Donald Trump's a better candidate today on October 6th, then I'm not going to change your mind between now and November 5th.
That's a small, really small number.
that's a number that, although this race is in the margins, it's not going to win it. But you're right; those people who we have to convince to get out the couch, and that's a lot of Philadelphia, right? That's a lot of brothers. That where Kamala Harris is struggling the most, and we can have that discussion, which is why we're on the call, is with Black men and Hispanic men, point blank, period. And those are the margins she needs to win. She's doing extremely well in Nevada, doing extremely well in North Carolina. She'll probably win Nevada. North Carolina's closer. Wisconsin, Michigan, doing great. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, those are those are difficult states, but she has given herself a puncher's chance to win. But I'm saying all that to say that Black men, Hispanic men, it comes down to us. And we just have to do that much more work. And it's within our realm of possibility.
And when we say that the work, so here's how I framed it. We can't have a singular conversation with Black men where it's only on pocketbooks. We got to say, brothers, Vice President Kamala Harris cares about your health. The Affordable Care Act is huge between the health of Black men. You want money in your pocket. Well, if you dying earlier, the people who are gonna get your money is gonna be your mama, your wife, your girlfriend, your side piece, your niece, or whoever. That's who's gonna get your money.
Your side piece ain't getting none of your money. But I hear you.
Well, you might have a separate bank account. But the bottom line is here. You got brothers got to understand your health is a part of the issue. Which candidate actually is focused on your health? When Vice President, and this is something that when she's talking about Black maternity, that ain't just about Black women, because that's birthing Black boys. That's a Black male issue.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, and I am with you. I believe the campaign needs to focus on Black men specifically, without even talking about criminal justice reform. To your point,
yes.
Because I mean, all people want to talk to us on the left or right. I mean, when people talk to you about Donald Trump, one of the first things they want to talk to you about is criminal justice reform, which he has absolutely no legitimacy to stand on. And so, I guess my larger point is, I expect them to be able to talk to Black men in the next 7-10 days in a way that is concrete and tangible. And I'm looking forward to that. But even outside of that, look, if you're in these cities or know people in these major cities, that's where this race is won and lost. And, for those people who are, as we call it down south, behind God's back, Texas ain't really the South, but respectfully, Roland. But if you're like in Wilmington or Elizabeth City or Robinson County, North Carolina, if you're in Albany, Georgia, if you're in Valdosta, Georgia, where there are a lot of rural Black farmers, rural Black business people, those are the people we got to talk to.
Well, let me remind you, Texas was a part of the Confederacy. Second of all, Texas has more eligible Black voters than any state in the union.
That's because you are the size of a middle-sized country.
Okay, but I can't hear everybody else small. But the bottom line is, if Black people in Texas vote our numbers, we can win. And hell, you win Texas, hell, you don't even need 3-4 of the states.
Not only that, but I mean, if you win Texas, I mean, and while you're here, let's talk about governing for 1 second, because this is going to be the first time in 60, 70 years where you have a Democratic president coming in with a Republican Senate, if things go the way that they're trending to go.
Right.
That makes places like Texas and Florida even that much more important. And Ohio. I mean, we just can't assume we're going to win Ohio, although the polls are in our favor. We have 30 days left. I mean, everybody in Cleveland, All those black folk watching right now, because you got a great audience in Cleveland. You got a great audience in Columbus.
Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Akron.
Yes. All those, yes. They all need to come out to ensure that if something doesn't go right in Montana, which it looks weird in Montana, they give us a puncher's chance down in Texas and Florida. Yeah. And so I know we're talking a lot about the math and the map and all those.
Native Americans could be the key in Montana.
I think Native Americans are going to be the key in Montana and Nevada, actually.
Yeah. So it just, what I keep saying to everybody who's watching and listening, if you run up against a brother, man, I don't know. This is what you do. You say, you got to ask them, what are the 3 things you care about? And then make them say it, and then follow those 3 things, and then walk them through why Kamala Harris is a better choice than Donald Trump.
Listen, and then you have to give them a reason to show up.
Right.
Because once you win the battle, right? Once you win the battle of Kamala Harris is better than Donald Trump, that's a low bar. Like me and you can win those arguments with our eyes closed, right? That's a very, very low bar. Then the question we have to ask ourselves is, what's going to make this person come outside when it rains? What's going to make this person come outside when their family member is sick, when they didn't early vote? Just give them that sense of urgency where they got to tell their boss they're going to take 30 minutes. What are we giving them to do that? And how is your life going to be better or worse for whomever you choose? And I think that's the question people are having trouble with. I think the question people are having trouble with is not Donald Trump is bad, but how does Kamala Harris make my life better? And that's the question for the next 30 days she has to answer. And she's doing a damn good job of answering it for women in this country, white women, black women, Hispanic women. She's doing an amazing job of answering it, even for young people. I think there is a certain group of men above the age of 40 that need to hear the same thing. And I believe she's doing it. We just have to magnify that, which is why we have these calls.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, again, it can't just be she needs to do it. All of us need to do it and be amplifying those things. So, Bakar, we appreciate it. You can go back to your brown liquor.
Come on. Brown liquor, baby. I drink tequila. So, I mean, I drink darker tequila than most, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, I'm always the one who's driving. So, yeah. I'm always the one who pass the keys. Everybody gonna get home safe. So, it's
all right, brother. I love you. We'll talk soon.
You gotta have that one who makes sure everybody's wallets don't get taken when they get a little tipsy.
There you go. There you go. I need you in my life. That's why you here, Uncle Roro. Have a good one, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Joe, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, folks. We're gonna close with this here. Khalil, you got any final thoughts?
One, thank you, Roland, and thank you, Bakari, for always leading. Sorry, my amazing 7-year-old CEO is joining us tonight.
It's all good. Don't be trying to sneak in on the win with Black Men Call. Look at you.
Think about it, Uncle Roland. Okay, he's just giving you the look. All right, back to your games over here. Hold on. Okay, Olivia, almost done. Almost done. All right. I just want to say thank you to all the brothers who showed up tonight to be a part of this conversation. It's amazing. This coming week, though, we are going to be rolling out some engagement opportunities. On our next call, next Sunday, it's the mayors and state leaders call. So it's governors, state constitutional officers, elected officials, down to county, down to municipal leaders. We're working with trying to get Governor Westmore on, as well as president of the African American Mayors Association, Mayor Stephen Reed from Montgomery, Alabama, hold on a second, to a whole host of others. I know she loves being a part of this. As well as next week, we are rolling out our state captains program, our volunteer state captains program. Our weekend of engagement is going to be the weekend of October 26th. We're going to be going out and doing canvassing, trying to engage as many states as we can. We have 10 targeted states that we're working in, but we're trying to make sure that 40, as well as DC and the 6 territories, know that if brothers are out there and they wish to bring more brothers to the polls to be engaged in the voting process, they can sign up. It's going to be in our Tuesday resource email, so please look out for that. As well as we're doing out-of-state volunteer programs, bringing brothers next weekend. Our hope is to take people from DC to Pennsylvania and Columbia, South Carolina to Georgia. We're trying to figure out what best is working in Georgia, whether it's Augusta or Savannah. Following that, we are looking, as I said, our weekend of engagement. And then October 29th is going to be our day of action. So again, we're calling on all brothers around the country to come together in their state capitals, bring everybody. As Bakari said, this is no longer about persuasion this next 30 days. It's about IDing and mobilizing you to go vote. So we're bringing brothers out to be voting through that process. On our national early vote day is on the 29th. And then hope if all goes well, you will catch us in 16 different cities on a tour that we're trying to put together right before the election. So we will have more updates coming to you via email. We're going to target those emails that will come to you specifically in your state, looking for volunteer state captains to sign up and take this effort. We've heard you. And then lastly, thank you to our union and labor brothers who hopped on this evening. It was important that you were a part of this conversation. We wanted to have more, and I know I want to give a big shout out to Apollos and Herb from AFGE, Kenny over at AFSCME, Rashim and Kairu over at SEIU, and of course Sam over at Unite Here for always holding us down. Thank you to you brothers, and I'm sure there is a phalanx of more that exist in the union and labor movement who just could not join this evening, but truly excited for those that did, and Terrence always bringing the data to inform us better. So again, and finally, thank you to you, Roland, for leading us in these conversations and making sure we are bringing the facts to brothers. That's all we're really trying to do here. Yes, we have a person that we want to support, but we want you to go in to that voting booth, either early or on election day. You got to choose one, can't do multiple. But you're going into that voting booth with the proper and the correct information to inform your decision. Come here every Sunday night to get the trusted information and take it back to the shop and on your block. Again, thank you, Roland.
All right, Khalil, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Folks, don't forget, I'm going to be in Philadelphia on Tuesday at Mount Carmel Baptist Church, broadcasting live. Brothers, if you got questions, we want to see y'all come out, pack the joint. Show is live 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Mount Carmel Baptist Church, 5732 Race Street. Reverend Dr. Donald D. Moore is the pastor there. Looking forward to that conversation. Then, of course, the next day we'll still be in Philadelphia. We're going to be at Sharon Baptist Church, 3955 Conshohocken Avenue. Bishop K.W. Reed is the pastor there, so we look forward to having that conversation. That's October 9th. Then on October 10th, you can join us, folks, at Lincoln University. We'll be on the campus of the Mary Dodd Brown Memorial Chapel. Looking forward to that. So if you're at Lincoln University, student, faculty, staff, we want to see y'all come on out. So we look forward to having that conversation. We're going to close this thing out. Again, I saw this ad. I thought it was very interesting, and it laid out what America will look like if Donald Trump in Project 2025 wins. Listen, you can vote for two things. You can vote for Kamala Harris, and you can vote against Donald Trump. And so that's one thing we need to understand. So I'm going to see you guys next Sunday right here in the Win with Black Men Call. Appreciate Keenan. Thanks for all the work. Khalil, Bakari, Michael, Quentin, everybody involved. And we're going to close it out because this right here, y'all, this will happen if we do not vote for Vice President Kamala Harris, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be the 47th president of the United States. So y'all watch this and learn. Take care.
November 5th, 2024. Donald Trump defeats a divided and dispirited Democratic campaign. On January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Unfortunately, he keeps his promises. Trump seizes control of a divided government, signing hundreds of executive orders implementing Project 2025. Trump replaces over 50,000 civil servants with hardline MAGA loyalists. The federal oath of office now requires declaring loyalty to the president, not the Constitution. Protected by the Supreme Court's grant of total immunity for official acts, Donald Trump orders the Department of Justice to arrest members of the January 6th Commission, current and former DOJ employees, and political opponents for treason, election interference, and conspiracy. He declares it to be an official act. Trump ends birthright citizenship by executive order and turns millions of American-born citizens into illegal aliens overnight. Mass deportations begin. Hundreds of thousands, including legal U.S. residents and American citizens, are imprisoned in newly built camps. Protests erupt. Trump addresses the nation from the Oval Office, invoking the Insurrection Act and declaring the protesters a danger to American sovereignty. He orders the National Guard to use deadly force to suppress the protests. In the wake of the bloody violence, Trump declares nationwide martial law, awarding himself new powers under the freshly signed American Sovereignty Protection Order, which defines protest of immigration policies as non-protected speech and a threat to national security. Governors in New York, California, Illinois, and elsewhere declare their opposition, promising to refuse compliance in their states. Trump orders their arrests. Trump pardons every January 6th attacker, including those who assaulted the police, and in a White House ceremony issues a new presidential medal honoring them. Many are given jobs in his administration. The Department of Education is renamed the Department of American Values and mandates a nationwide Christian nationalist curriculum for all schools receiving federal aid. Trump, joined by Speaker Mike Johnson and evangelical leaders, announces that the Department of Health and Human Services has reclassified mifepristone, making it illegal to distribute or prescribe, as well as new HHS regulations that make IVF treatments impossible to legally administer. Trump reverses one campaign promise by declaring a national abortion ban by executive order. Challenges to his authority are rejected by the Supreme Court, which has seen new appointments from Trump after it was expanded to 12 justices. He signs an executive order removing abortion records from HIPAA privacy regulations and announces a new federal data sharing program so states can monitor women's periods. Thousands are detained while crossing state lines under suspicion of seeking an abortion. Trump's acting Secretary of Defense, a disgraced ex-general, fires over 400 generals and admirals, leaving the military leaderless. Other Trump appointees purge the ranks of the CIA, FBI, and Department of Justice. By executive order, Trump withdraws the United States from NATO and ends Pentagon cooperation with Ukraine. Russian tanks enter Kyiv. Vladimir Zelensky is killed. It is announced that Trump will run for a third term, claiming he was unfairly cheated in the 2020 election. His Supreme Court ultimately agrees with this interpretation, paving the way for Trump's 2028 re-election. If you hear all this and believe it isn't possible, then ask yourself, what did you believe was impossible just 8 years ago? This isn't a fantasy. It's Trump's plan, and he's counting on you to believe it couldn't happen.
Donald Trump said he would choose only the best people to work in his White House. Now those people have a warning for America. Trump is not fit to be president again. Here's his vice president.
Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States.
I cannot in good conscience endorse Donald Trump this year.
His defense secretary.
Do you think Trump can be trusted with the nation's secrets ever again?
No. I mean, it's just irresponsible action that places our service members at risk, places our nation's security at risk.
His national security advisor.
Donald Trump will cause a lot of damage. The only thing he cares about is Donald Trump.
And the nation's former highest-ranking military officer.
We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. We don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
Take it from the people who knew him best. Donald Trump is too big a risk for America.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.